So, hey guys, it's getting near the end of the season. It's the end of my life. It's the end of the season. Worst season ever. Can't hardly board, can't stand up. Spent 80 some days on the Bunny Hill. Hardly ever went up the mountain. My boarding, riding sucks. Ted had a great season. He got to ride everywhere, do everything, meet all the people. I just got to hang around the Bunny Hill. So anyhow, we have a lot of good conversations going up and down the mountain. But we don't have a webcam on the inside the car, so we don't get it. So we were talking about things that would be kind of not beneficial learning to board in the way of either the environment coming out or the equipment or the delivery from your friends, the family, or an instructor that might cause you to not do well. So Ted wanted to take something there and run with it real quick.
Jim first asked me, he says, what would cause you to stop, you know, as a beginner? And I said, wow, the first thing I thought of is what was my motivation. And then once I got over that, you know, am I doing this because my friends want me to? Am I doing this because my dad wanted me to learn it? Or am I doing this because my girlfriend, you know, whatever it is. And then I said, okay, the thing that would stop me is pain and frustration are my two. And how much pain and frustration would I tolerate that matched my motivation that made me stop? And then we got to talking about pain, frustration.
And where does it come from?
And where's it coming from? And how much help are you getting?
The environment.
The environment. And what do you know when you go to the mountain? And then
before you go.
And then I think back on when I started learning. I didn't know anything. So I get up to the mountain, it's hard pack. I'm going to try to teach myself, which is
Did you wear knee pads?
No, I didn't.
Not until after you slammed your knees.
Not until
a few times.
Not until after.
I didn't wear a butt pad until after I hit it.
After
more
that,
times than I can count.
Yeah, and eventually when even when I started teaching, I went to my supervisor and said, we ought to put a sign up that tells people it's going to be super hard to learn it on this condition right now. And who thinks of that when they go to the mountain?
And those conditions can be prominent for those of you viewing us from the East Coast, where they blow the snow. Mother Nature doesn't put it down there. So we got to set a base. And everybody knows a base is the hardest, most firm, frozen stuff you can get.
Yeah.
That telling you, if you live on the East Coast, wear knee pads, wear elbow pads, get a butt pad.
Yeah.
Because you might fall.
Yeah.
You will fall eventually, but in a good environment with a good helper, you should fall less.
Yes, and that's the key phrase. I called something the other day boilerplate up where we ride, and they didn't know what I was saying. So what's that? You know, and then there's this other stuff out here, and it's called I call it hero snow. It's like almost everything you do works. That's wonderful. It's wonderful. And if you're getting the correct help and you have the good conditions, there's movement forward. There's something in your brain that's saying, oh, yeah, I can get this. I can do this. And you do it the other way around, hard pack, boilerplate, your friends taking you to the top of a mountain.
Instead of at the bottom where it's flat, where your board will come to a stop no matter what you do, instead of continuing down past the parking lot and towards your house. That's not a good deal.
Yeah. So for all of this, it's like when you go out and do and you accomplish something, or something works out for you, or it looks a little better, or feels a little better, you made a progression. Good. Don't expect that to be there the next time you go there.
Because conditions have changed.
Yeah. But you keep going and you keep playing with conditions and you keep making progressions. You get to a point where it's like, okay, the mountain can throw just about anything at me and I can get down safely.
So we talk about progressions and we talk about moving ahead, etc. You can only move ahead if you have fundamentals that you understand.
Yep.
And those fundamentals come from you, everything you do prior to coming to the mountain. So in that light, one of the things that causes a problem for everybody, I don't know anybody on either side of this camera that walks backwards on their heels
Yeah.
at any time, whatever. So you will not be familiar with walking and standing on heels because we move forward where our chest is. But for snowboarding, you've got to. Now, a myth in snowboarding. Stand there facing down the mountain. Look where you're going to go and lift your toes. Lift your toes? You can lift your toes all you want. The board is still going to be flat and dangerously close to the down part you slide because that's called gravity and that's where it wants all of you to move. So, can you lift the toes? No. You've got to lever your body back away from the downhill by standing tall and moving back until the toes come up and have a nice day. But remember, you're on the largest tripping device ever made for winter sports. So instead of moving towards the camera this way, if I move down diagonally, I've decreased the surface area in front of me that will cause the tripping. And then I want to build edge pressure back towards the heel edge if I'm left foot forward. If I'm right foot forward, I want to build edge pressure back towards the right foot and slow myself down while that left side slides forward. But what happens to most people is they transfer too much weight to one foot or the other, and the board will then spin. So therefore, we've got to have something in our mind which is directionality. So hit the brakes real fast in your car on the icy road, what's the back of the car do?
Swerves.
Where's it go?
Wherever it wants.
Yeah, past the front of the car. And that's the same thing that's happening because you have lost control of steering that device. Same thing happens on a snowboard.
Yep.
We're not going to go into it over and over, but fundamentally it's a problem. So think about what you're doing. Walk around on your heels at home, just on your heels, while walking backwards. You think about it, you're going to have to lean.
The idea to say lift your toes, really what somebody's saying to you, or what the suggestion is to lever your toes up.
Correct.
Rather than say lift them up. Yeah, we're talking to different muscles, different structure.
Plus,
different
did you
stuff.
notice that when Ted lifted his toes up there, he put his head down to watch them for a minute?
Yeah,
That's what you guys were doing.
That's
Don't
a
do
disaster.
It.
Don't do
it.
that.
You've lost posture.
Don't do that.
You've lost leverage. Anyhow, we're gonna kind of end on that with one other thing. For all you ladies out there, I'm amazed that it took me 29 years to realize you spend a lot of time walking on your toes because of your high heel shoes. Therefore, rocking back off those heels to get on the heels, it's got to feel a little weird because you constantly walk around and somebody says, why do you always walk on your tiptoes? High heel shoes. So they've already dropped your feet down, something I've never considered, and then the guy on the snowboard's asking you to pick them up. But I dress up pretty and I'm cool and I'm sophisticated and I love my high heels. Well, forget the high heels and get some high toes. So anyhow, we're going to close on that. Hope you had a good season. Stay with us. Tell some other people about us. Go back and review as many fundamentals as you can. Prepare yourself for next winter. Hopefully the doctor prepares this knee, turns it back into the same as this knee, and I can ride next season. Yep. So we're out on that.
Time to go get in condition.
Let's see if I taped it. Oh God.
That'd be just classic, Jim. Did it?
Well, the red button's still on.